This conference will now be recorded.
In theory. I'm not sure.
Do we know who this individual is? That keeps
We'll
signing
find out.
on and off?
Can you guys hear us by chance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just trying to make sure the recording, it says it's recording up there. I'm going to make an assumption that it is, which that's a bad thing to do. It says it's recording in progress, so, okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Well, good morning, everybody. This is the Sewer Commissioner Board for Lake Stevens Sewer District meeting for May 9th, 2024. It is 9 o'clock. We'll start by going with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we've got that. Commissioner Wright will not be joining us this morning. She had other business to attend to, so she will not be here. We're going to move down. If you're looking at your agenda this morning, either virtually or in person here, we are at item number 3, which is the public forum. This is an opportunity at this time as we open it up for anybody to address the Board of Commissioners. It doesn't have to be about a topic we have currently on the agenda, but it can be something if there's any questions, comments, concerns. We don't have anybody in the audience, at least in the district.
Way in the back?
That like to address us. I don't know if anybody online would like to address us. I see a couple of folks, but I don't my eyes aren't as good as they should be, and B just says B, but I don't know if B wants to speak. If not, we're going to take that as a no. But did we get any correspondence, email or otherwise?
No, we did not.
Okay, well, with that being said, we're just going to go ahead and close the public forum aspect of the meeting. We're going to go down to the agenda approval. I'll look at staff to see if there's any additions, subtractions.
One amendment, we'd like to amend the title of Old Business 6A to just be Lift Station 2C Improvements Project Award. Contract is not ready for approval.
Okay. With that being said, that'll be noted on that. I'll look to my fellow commissioner.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor with a second coming from me. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. If you're following, we're down to 5C, which is consent agenda items. These are obviously items that have been previously reviewed by each of the board members. And so I'll look to.
I have one comment on our consent items this morning. In part of our consent item packet that comes each meeting is a summary of attorney costs and where the district has spent monies related to attorney costs, as well as whereas the city has spent monies related to litigation with the district. And I want to note that, and we'll cite this as we go forward as per the city's requests. We're going to restart the litigation, unfortunately. But where we're sitting at currently is the city has spent just over $412,000. And the district in defense has spent just over $263,000. So that's part of our agenda pack. I'll note that. And I also wanted to note it at this time because there's been an analysis that's been referenced a few times. We've talked about it in public forums and have talked about some of the flaws, and that is a independent analysis that has been cited repeatedly that has savings of $600,000 related to an early merger between the city and the district. That analysis cost around $30,000 in the city to put it together. I question how independent it was, but the process that was used was flawed. There's many flawed inputs that went into the process, and one of which is there was no cost associated in that analysis related to legal fees. So if that $600K was even real, the over $600,000 that we've expended in legal fees already would have exhausted it. So I'm hoping we can stop citing that flawed report, and I thought it'd be an opportunity, since we have the, as part of the consent package, the legal fees, we'll continue to report on those as we get back into litigation so that the public can be aware of where those monies are being spent on both sides. But I thought I'd bring that up and just draw some clarity for that. Other than that, I'd make a motion, we approve the consent items A through E.
Okay, I'll go ahead and second that. With that being said, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are moving on down to old business. Item number 6. There's only one there. Item A, lift station 2C improvement project award.
On May 2nd, 2024, the sewer district received 5 responsive bids and 1 non-responsive bid for the lift station 2C improvement project. The bids range from $4,667,109.99 to $7,392,363.41. The engineer's estimate for the project was $5,014,323.31. Interwest Construction is the apparent low bidder. The engineers and staff have reviewed the supplemental bidders criteria to make sure that Interwest Construction also meets the requirements in their supplemental bidding information. And it's staff's and engineers' recommendation that we award the project to Interwest Construction, Inc. out of Burlington, Washington for $4,667,109.99.
Okay, perfect. Questions?
Just one question. Which one of our engineering partners did the engineering estimate?
This was Gray and Osborne.
Gray and Osborne. Well done. Nailed it. That hasn't always been the case with some of those estimates. That's beautiful to see. And I guess the other comment I have is you weren't joking about spending some of the capital, so, or investing in some of the capital. Let's be clear on that. Yes. So that's great. I'd make a motion, we approve the contract award for lift station 2C to Interwest for a sum of approximately $4.6 million.
Okay, with that being said, I'll go ahead and second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody, on that. It's good to see that project is moving forward. Okay, we're down to item 7, which is new business. This is 7A, which is an agreement regarding costs of the Gamble annexation.
Right. This is the standard time and materials agreement that we is the first step in the process of annexation. The property owner or the applicant has agreed to pay time and materials for district costs related to pursuing the annexation. The agreement's been reviewed by staff and legal and is recommended for approval.
Okay, and this is just right next to the rest of the development going down over that hill.
Yeah, it's off of Machias Cutoff and 123rd, right next to High Z.
Yep. Okay, that being said,
Yeah, I would make a motion, we approve the agreement regarding costs of the Gamble annexation and authorization for either general manager or her designee to execute.
okay, and I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Down to number 8, managers reports. We'll start with the general manager.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Plant flows right now 2 million gallons a day. And that is all I have for you today. Nice and short.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, our assistant.
So year to date, we've issued 42 permits and collected 20 GFCs. Yesterday, district staff, the district's engineer, and the contractor for the 2C force main and gravity improvements, we had a pre-construction meeting. So we're hoping that that project, we're looking at probably a early to mid-June actual construction start date. Notice to proceed will probably be coming here in the next few weeks, and we're looking forward to getting that project started. That's about all I got.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's been a project in the works quite a while, so it'll be nice to get that one eventually checked off.
Yeah, and we also set up a process for frequent status updates. That project's going to require a lot of coordination. The timing didn't work out quite as we had hoped. Materials suppliers are still slow in supplying materials. So it looks like there's going to be a little time frame where our project and the city's improvement project down there will be happening concurrently at the same time. But I think we set up a pretty good forum and a process to where city staff, the district, and the contractor will be able to coordinate those activities pretty well. So.
Perfect, that's awesome. Okay, I don't see anybody from the city, but I don't know if we got a report. Number 9 is city report. And
We have not received anything from the city. However, I do know several of them are in Washington, D.C. this week. So that could be why they're not attending our meeting.
Yeah, okay, well, perfect. We'll just move on down. We're going to go down to commissioner's reports. That's item 10 if you're following us. I'll let Commissioner Kochi first since, well, I get to run the meeting today.
Okay.
So I'll let you start.
Sure. 2 things I have. One is I want to commend the staff for the city sewer district merger process update that was in the bill insert. Very clear, very well-spoken, graphically pleasing and easy to absorb. And I especially appreciate the maybe the restraint in which to respond to where we had a bill insert, so it didn't cost our ratepayers much, if anything, to use an existing mailing. So I wanted to acknowledge that. The second thing I wanted to cover is Councilmember Petershagen asked about our debt, and I've made repeated comments about being debt-free by the merger date of 2033. And he had noticed that in our financials that some of the loans extend beyond 2033 and how could we be debt-free and so forth. So I thought I would address that now. I think it's important to have context around that though. Why is the debt important? So I'm wrapping up my corporate career, and every stop along the way, there's been 5 big things that folks have been measured on. It didn't matter what the firm was or whatever. And it was typically bookings, revenue, margins, customer satisfaction, and employee engagement. And typically you could get praise for the last 2, customer sat and employee engagement. You could get fired for the top 3. And so, and there's very few quantitative measures that are kind of composite scores, if you will, of how an overall team is doing. And the one thing that I see in our finances, we've talked about this when we do our quarterly reports, is that a lot of that, there's so much work. It's really all 20-some, 30-some employees' efforts, whether you're at the plant and you're being careful on alternative suppliers identification, or whether you're in the field and you're doing proactive maintenance to avoid a larger issue, or if you're on the front lines, on the phones, helping customers be able to navigate our processes. All of that goes into the financial results. And so our ability to pay down debt is a reflection of all the hard work as well as the leadership of the district. So that's one. Secondly, we also talk about our philosophy is development pays for development. And if that wasn't true, we wouldn't hold true to our capital plan and live within our means. We save and we invest. We do not borrow to invest. We have needed to borrow to invest, but the trajectory of the past over a decade has been to save and to invest. And that does restrict what we can do. There's restrictions on our personal finances, there's restrictions in the district, there's barriers in place, and we manage it such that our philosophy is develop pays for development, which means in turn, the ratepayers to the extent possible do not pay for development. And each time we take on debt, the ratepayer pays for that debt, regardless of what our GFCs are. The bulk of that responsibility lands in the ratepayer. So that's why it's important as well. And I guess third, the district, our financial position is the envy of many municipalities and many sewer districts around the Pacific Northwest because of where we're at and because of that diligence. So, and then I'll shift. So that's kind of why it's important. Some history. In 2005, the city is a very different place, and I not trying to typecast that the city's a lot bigger and capable and so forth. But in 2005, the city struggled to be able to maintain their existing sewer infrastructure. They did not have the financial resources to be able to participate in the build of a plant. All this is captured in our 2005 agreement where the district took over the infrastructure, and I won't go into all the rest of the details. However, it is important when we talk about debt that the district also took on over $20 million of city debt in that process. And so when we talk about our overall debt, we talk about our debt pay down, a chunk of those the debt burdens was from the city in that transaction that we took responsibility for. Okay, so let's talk about the debt. The high water mark on the debt was in around 2012, and it was $120 million, over $120 million. Of that, in 2012 now, approximately a little over 16 million was city's debt that we're continuing to pay down, and the balance, 100 plus, was primarily related to the build of the plant. We've paid that down to this year. We'll exit total combined, total debt, city, district, all that combined, a little over 45 million. So a 62% pay down in those 12 years. And if we go down to 2033, we'll exit with 3 million and change in 2033. One thing important to note, though, is some of our loans have loan reserves that we are required to have against those, around $3 million. So while there's a balance of 3 million, there's also loan reserves that will largely be sitting there to pay that off. So debt-free by 2033 is an accurate statement with some of that additional context. And so hopefully that clears it up. And if there's any other questions around that, I know that Councilmember Peters-Hagen, and I'm sure there's other folks in the city that are interested. This is going to be a very short recording of only about 20 minutes probably. So it'll be an easy to listen to, and I welcome any follow-up conversations regarding that. So that's the debt piece. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Okay.
My monologue is complete.
Yes, no, I appreciate it. And I guess for me, just to add on, I mean, I want to thank staff for all the hard work. Two, the mailing that did go out, very appropriate, very good response. It is what I have been, contacted from a lot of parties that our ratepayers have been asking, when is the district going to respond? They've been told, and I've told a lot of them, I said, look at our website, look at the mailing. So I think that it was very appropriate for our response there. And again, we're just utilizing the resources we have. We didn't expend any extra dollars to go outside and cost our ratepayers any more money to send them something that we put in our monthly billing. Two, as far as the debt aspect of it, I think that just comes to show I've been in municipal government for a very, very long time, whether it's on a city side or a district. I've always found that special purpose districts, whether I was a fire commissioner at one time and now sit as a sewer commissioner, are an ideal way. We have one sole purpose based on if you're water, sewer, fire. In this case, we are a sewer district. We manage the public funds very well. And it's the model in all the years in government. I prefer the special purpose model just because of the very fact that we have one sole purpose. We are here to provide sanitary service and wastewater protections and everything for our folks. And we do it based on a very, very good financial model. So, we get a lot of heat sometimes for what people think that we have done. But I think if you look at the numbers, it speaks for itself. So yeah, very good on that. So with that being said, we're going to move on down. We do have an executive session. This executive session is going to be about, I would say, 15 minutes. It would be something that is in regards to, obviously, litigation or potential litigation, however they want to phrase it. I know we have our legal counsel with us online. I will let Ms. Jordan go ahead and speak to the RCW in regards to that. Obviously, there will be no decision to follow when we're done. So when the board does return, we would just go to regular session and then close out for today. But with that being said, I'm going to look to Ms. Jordan to speak to that, and we'll go from there.
All right. The Lake Stevens Sewer District Commission will now move into executive session pursuant to RCW 4230 110 subsection 1 subsection I to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to pending or potential litigation to which the agency, the governing body or member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party. The executive session will conclude at 9:35, and at the conclusion, the commission will adjourn the commission meeting with no related announcements or actions taken.
Thank you, everyone.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, as previously stated, the Board of Commission has met. They've done it for the 15 minutes. We are now out in general session. As we said before, no decision to follow in what was an executive session. So I will look to my fellow commissioner to see if he'd like to.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank
All
you,
right.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
great day.
Enjoy the weather.